Howdy, welcome, Filmmaker IQ Live. Today, Sunday, June 16th. Today I'm talking about Inside Out 2 and reflecting on Father's Day because today is Father's Day. Welcome to this live stream. Let's see how many people are coming in here. Oh, let's see here. We got two people, folks. Welcome to this show. All right, so yesterday I went with my friends to Ren Fair. And then I went to a live sketch class, which was really fun. And then I was like, you know what could make this day better? Let's go see a movie on top of all of that. So I went to see Inside Out 2. And so I'll come back and talk about those other two things later as we get further into the stream. And I'm streaming a little earlier today because I want to try to get some work done around the office. Just for you, I mean, if you don't know from last week, I decided to move out of my studio to go back to my house and do my business out of my house, and then probably build up like a shed in my backyard. Anyhow, I'll follow that story later. Hold on, make sure I am live because this is acting kind of weird. Oh, there's 8 viewers. Okay, cool. So we're coming back live here. Say hi in the chat so I know that you're live and we're working. So, Inside Out 2. Now, I saw some reviews of Inside Out 2 that were kind of lukewarm about it. So, I kind of went in there thinking like, well, maybe this won't be very, I'll enjoy it. It'll be a thing. Hey, there's Jack Ripper. Okay, cool. So, chat is definitely working. How you doing, chat? Jack? So, I walked into Inside Out thinking, well, it is what it is. I'll see what it's like, right? And for the first part of the movie, it was very... I was just getting used to it. It moves pretty briskly. They don't really take much time to kind of explain anything because they figured if you're seeing Inside Out 2, you probably saw Inside Out and you're probably familiar with the conceit of the movie. So let's just dive into it. And then once it hit like the middle stride, like hit Act 2, I felt like really engaged. So from Act 2 on, I was fully on board, and to me, it was very, very, very funny. A lot of humor, and then the ending was one of those endings where it's like, no spoilers, obvious. I mean, I don't know. It feels dumb to be like, oh, spoilers, a movie like this, because it's like, I don't know. It's one of those movies where it's like, how can I describe this? Like, sitting there watching a movie, and you're like, is it going to happen? Oh my gosh, it happened. Thank it. It's like, come on. If you're, I don't know, maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just like, 40, almost 42. I'll be 42 next 2 more months. No, shoot, next month. Crap. So, spoilers don't, bother me in that, I'm not going to spoil it. Don't worry about it. But the ending was nicely done. Very, very well handled, artistically handled. It didn't need to punch you in the face with the information. This is a nice way to end the movie, and it felt satisfying. Well done, satisfying. Hey, Matt Stone is here. Matt Stone says, in a world where you can generate films from scratch with text prompts, why would anyone invest in making real movies anymore? The return on investment ain't there anymore. Says Matt Stone. Well, I love South Park, Matt Stone. So and I love Book of Mormon. So there's your answer. Well, I'll come back to that. Let's put a pin on that. Let's put that in the pin, and we'll talk about it some more. Because I thought the whole the conversation was kind of dead because people just realized that AI was sort of just pointless, and then I guess the newest thing is the one of the AI labs released a new thing. So now we got to talk about it again because say hi to Trey Parker for us, Matt Stone. We got to talk about it again because it's in the news again because somebody marketed something. So we got to talk about AI again. I don't know. Well, maybe I can talk about it too because I went to my live drawing class and there's a why would you want to draw when you can just AI something, right? Anyhow, let's finish talking about Inside Out because people that are clicking on this video in about 2 days from now will probably want me to get back on point because they want to just hear my opinion on Inside Out too because they probably saw it or they're thinking about seeing it or whatever. Anyhow, so from Act 2 on, I was totally on board. I totally bought into the whole thing. If you don't know the storyline, I hate, covering the plot. Basically, Inside Out 2 is like, okay, Riley, who's the main character, she, the first movie, she was like a preteen. And now she's a teenager. And all of a sudden on the board, a little button says puberty. And it starts like lighting up and like turning red and all that. Now, there isn't a whole lot about the menstruation cycle in this movie. I guess turning red was more in regards to that. So we don't have to deal with that subject matter. We have to deal with the fact that she's getting older and that she is, getting, more of an adult, right? Getting to that adult stage. And, there's a couple poignant scenes in there. Nothing in the movie made me cry. My eyes were a little wet, but it never made me cry. But I remember the first Inside Out didn't necessarily make me cry. Although when I saw an orchestra playing it, I did cry. But like the movie itself didn't make me cry. There's a scene where Joy, who's the main character, she's this one, right? Joy breaks down and gets sad, and you're thinking like that's sort of out of character. Excuse me, I've got still a bit of a cough. But Joy breaks down because she's trying to fight this battle. And, the cool thing about the movie is, and I know this going because I'm of the mind, I'm sure a lot of you are too, where we're watching a movie, we're dissecting it, we're trying to understand the thematic things. Even though, so what happens is she's going through puberty, so these 4 emotions we have, or 4 or 5, joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and fear. All right. Well, those are the core emotions, but now puberty is introducing a whole new set of emotions. We've got anxiety, we've got embarrassment, we've got envy, and then a character called ennui, which is kind of like boredom or like life. It has nothing to do. So these new characters come in, and anxiety kind of takes the show. And anxiety is essentially the villain. But if you understand where we're going with the story, you know that you can't kill anxiety. Like, as much as you want the anxiety to be the bad guy, the story has to resolve in a way that makes anxiety part of this host of emotional characters. Like, you can't just banish things. Like, Joy can't just ride in triumphantly on a horse and say, "I slay thee, anxiety, thou shalt not, and then I shall banish you from this realm," and then pull out a sword and goes a slash. Like, obviously that's not going to happen because that's not the way the story is going to go down. The anxiety has to be reincorporated into the host of emotions. So that going through. So, when you're watching this, you're thinking like, well, I know you're not going to banish anxiety. How are you going to mitigate anxiety and bring it into the fold and bring it into the whole character? And I really appreciate the way they resolved the story and the way it was, basically the essence. And when you see these little strings behind me, I'm going to give you a little more detail. I don't know. Maybe all this is given away in the trailer. Who knows? I don't watch trailers because they tell you too much. But these strings represent like core beliefs. Like the memories in Riley's character, in Riley's world, memories go down into the pit, and they're in this little water, and they form these core beliefs about this person. So each of these strings is like, I am this, I am that, right? And then they all come together and create like a core personality. And so what anxiety does is it starts throwing like other new ideas in there, and it starts creating like a new, like anxious core belief, and then eventually they bring. Anyhow, I'm not going to go further, but I like the way it all kind of resolves together. Jack Ripper has asked, how does the animation look? The animation looks great. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed. Not going to spoil too much. There is they do play with the animation a little bit, and you get some different art styles in there that are fun. And I guess Inside Out 1 did this too when they went to like abstract thinking, right? So there's some fun with it. There's some meta humor, in terms of how they handle it. So here's my overall thought though about Inside Out 2. I loved it, but I didn't love it as much as Inside Out 1. It's one of those things where I take it, it feels like a Furiosa again to me, where it's like, it was very entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I probably like this movie more than Furiosa because it's lighthearted and it's fun. It's funny. It's sweet. I enjoyed all of that. But it's not groundbreaking. So Inside Out was groundbreaking. This movie is not groundbreaking. It's really good. It's really good. It's really well done. I would say, it would definitely be something you would want to watch, like a double. You could watch it in sequence with the first one. It would be great. It'd be an enjoyable time. But it's not groundbreaking. And I was watching some other reviewers talking about how like Disney is hell bent on sequels, just hell bent on sequels, and they're not. It just seems like they're so afraid to do anything new, and it's sad. It feels sad. Like I wish I would come up with a Coco or a Inside Out, something that's just fresh and new and like wow. I guess Turning Red was that, but no one saw that. So maybe they learned their lesson. Don't make new stuff. All you kids will only see old stuff. Now it's kind of funny. I was sitting in the movie. It was a packed theater, by the way. So it's a new experience, right? We haven't had it's the last time you've been in a movie theater where it's been packed. Well, it was packed for this screening. And behind me was a child. And like I don't bemoan parents taking their children to Disney movies, okay? Like of all the things you can take if you go to a Disney movie or an animated movie as an adult by yourself, you have no right to complain if there are children in the audience and they're talking. Because that's the reality of the world, man, So this kid there's a subreddit called kids are fucking stupid or something like that. Yeah, this kid belongs in that category. He's like, why do they call her Joy? Her name's not Joy. It's Jewel or something like that. And then at the beginning of the movie, before the movie starts, there was like a photo of Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa, and the kid's like, oh, I hate that girl. And then it's like, then they show a picture of Anya Taylor-Joy on the red carpet. It's like, I like that girl. It's like, you kid are so dumb. You're so dumb. And then you talk through the whole movie. He's talking like, he's like, that's not right. Or, he's just saying stupid stuff. And I can't be upset with it because it's a kid in the movie theater, whatever, Like, I'm not going to get upset about that. If it was like a kid in like Furiosa, I might be like, dude, it's an R-rated movie. Like, why is this like 3 or 4-year-old in here? Kid is way too young to understand any of the stuff about puberty. Hell, I don't think I would be comfortable talking about puberty until I was in my 40s. I mean, seriously. So anyhow, yeah, the kid was retarded. Sorry. Oh, I said the R word. He wasn't really retarded. He was just stupid. He was being dumb. He was being a dumb kid. When I went to see Grease re-released in theaters in 1998, people were singing the lyrics. I'd never seen it before it happened. I'd never seen it before it happened. You go in any movie, you take your chances, good or bad. That's the thing with musicals, though. I think what's that one controversial Republican representative that took out in trouble at Beetlejuice for singing the lyrics during Beetlejuice? They got escorted out. Well, she was drunk and like trying to like have a new dude. Oh, that's right. They did mention the puberty button at the end of the first In and Out. I don't remember that, but I mean, it would make sense that would be there. I mean, when I first heard about In and Out 2, I was like, really? They're going to do a sequel to In and Out, Inside Out? And I thought about it for a second, then I thought, well, actually, yeah, you could. Like, because the first one was like really young, aimed for like younger kids. And this one could be like puberty and, the funny thing about Inside Out 2 was it doesn't lean too much into the whole sex aspect. And I'm not going to be like totally pervy here, but like there is a little bit of what you call it? There is a little bit of hint of like, oh, she's got a crush on like a cartoon character. She's got a crush on these boys. There's a little bit of that there, but it's not full blown yet. And again, because she's 13 years old. So it's not, it's a little early for that, right? I mean, once she gets like 15, then you can start the hormone. I mean, wait till you see like the libido emotion come out. It's funny. You know, it's funny because okay, this is not. I mean, I think this is in the trailer, but there's actually a nostalgia emotion, and they keep trying to like nostalgia emotion is dressed like an old grandma, and she comes out it's like, oh, remember that time when we used to go out to the you know, and the other emotion's like, get back in the closet, go back. Like it's too early. You're not. It's too early for nostalgia. We won't have you come out until we're at our best friend's wedding in 20 years. All right. And I was like, hey, Disney, stop tacking that thing. Make something new, for crying out loud. Let's be real, John. You struck the child, and now you're currently out for bond for assault on a minor. Well, you know, the thing is, like, I wasn't upset with the kid. I thought it was cute and also stupid, but also somewhat annoying. But kind of cute because he was so dumb. He was such a dumb kid. I don't know. It's like a doggy that tries to jump on the couch and it's too small to get on top of the couch, but it keeps trying anyway. So you watch it and it's jumping up, and she falls off, and then she falls off again and again and again. You know, it's like you're a stupid dog. I'm talking about this kid. It's a stupid kid. Certain Exposure says, I love Anya's acting. Also, unique beauty. Would be cool to do a photo shoot with her. There's a lot of people I want to do. I want to get back to photo shoots. So, all you camera nerds out there, I pulled the trigger on a medium format digital camera. Now it's a little smaller than a real medium format. It's I got a secondhand GFX Fujifilm GFX 50S 2. And the thing is, so I went to Ren Fair yesterday, and I was supposed to get my camera in on Thursday, but I thought it was coming to my house. I didn't realize I had it sent to my studio office. So I'm like, well, where is it? I didn't find the little door tag. And then on Friday, I still thought it was going to my house. I go home waiting for the package, and it never gets there. I'm like, what the? But then I look on my thing, and I was like, oh, shoot, I sent it to my office. And I missed it twice. So I didn't have my medium format camera, and I wanted to take it to Ren Fair to practice with Ren Fair because there's going to be a lot of busty ladies rocking around, and there's going to be lots of cool opportunities to shoot stuff, and it's going to be fun, target-rich opportunity, target-rich, environment in order to shoot. And unfortunately, I'm not going to get it till Monday, so freaking A. But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy would definitely be a joy, Anya, to shoot with. I mean, I've always thought it'd be fun to shoot with all kinds. There's all kinds of. I think a lot of women. I think sometimes it's fun to shoot with like everyday women, just because there are ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm a man of a man of the women, but I feel like there's ways to just evoke beauty in everyday women. Like I think there are ways to just see that beauty. Now, something like Anya Taylor-Joy, you might be able to craft those really gorgeous, like commercially beautiful photos real easily. But with some other women, you might have to try to find that beauty in other ways, right? Because like Anya Taylor-Joy, it's like, look at me, click. All right, we got a commercially successful, beautiful photo. Here we go. All right, should I just go into like the crazy, the crazy? So I'll just be so. I in my last relationship, I was new to relationships, so I didn't know this question. But my ex asked me if you were, because I was talking about this play that I recorded of what you call it, Pinafore, HMS Pinafore, and she mentioned that she had a roommate that was in the show, and I was like, oh well, she was beautiful, she was great, I remember her really well. I kind of made a big deal about it because I thought, it's a connection. It's like, okay, talk about her roommate. I thought her roommate was very pretty. And she got like super defensive, which, as I see it now, like there's a reason why she was super defensive. Yeah, it's crazy ex. We'll talk about it real quick, but it's in context of the photography, right? So she said, hey, if I was in a theater and you were in a pit, would you see me as beautiful? The most beautiful girl there? I'm like, well, not necessarily. And then, oh my God, there's a doghouse there, right? So that's what I'm saying. But the thing is, like, in a certain way, you can make someone beautiful. Like like you can just walk down the street and see a girl and she's like, well, it's not that beautiful. But if you capture them in the right light and you capture them in the right angle and you capture them in the right spirit and you capture them if you find it, right, you can make an amazing photograph of a beautiful woman. You can make any woman beautiful. Yeah, with reason. All right. I don't know. Even like Throw Mama from the Train. That Throw Mama from the Train lady. I'll bet you if you find the right angle, you get her to smile, you made her to laugh maybe, you might be able to pull off a really great photo with her. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. That's all I wanted to go down there was basically Anya Taylor-Joy. It's almost too easy. If you get a really like commercially beautiful woman to do a photo shoot, it's like easy. It's super easy. It's so ridiculously easy to do, right? But after I did the Ren Fair yesterday, which I shot with my 35 millimeters, I had my Canon 5DS, which is a nice camera, but I'm not in love with it because I feel like the dynamic range when you just shoot normally on it feels very, very low. I find myself constantly pulling up shadows and reducing highlights because I like the look of like a deep dynamic range. So I'm kind of hoping. I'm coupled with this Fujifilm GFX, and I like the idea that it has these film emulators in there that I will tend to gravitate toward like a Portra, or maybe the positive film that Fuji makes. I might just automatically go in there, right? But anyhow, let's see. If I were to shoot with Anya, I wouldn't aim for commercial beauty shots. It'd be more like capturing character of some kind, maybe something unsettling yet still flattering. That's a challenge. There you go. What's it going? Oh yeah, so I did the Ren Fair. Yeah. So Canister said, I hope you watch the joust while eating a turkey leg, sitting next to someone dressed like Robin Hood, if he was trying to beat a cocaine habit. It felt like a lot of people at Ren Fair were trying to beat a cocaine habit. So I did stay at the joust. I got a nice ringside seat, hanging with my friends. My friend's wife, Claire, who's also my friend. She was yelling, "Kill him! Beat his brains out! I want blood!" during the joust section. So yeah, it was very much entertaining like that. What's up, Mian Wang? How you doing? Account says, might sound like I'm picking a comment, but most commercial photos of beautiful women are boring. They worked. They do the job, but it is easy and boring. I kind of agree with you on that. Actually, it doesn't sound like you're picking a fight. I kind of go with your stance there. So I'll show you a few photos I did of my time. I'll show you here. We'll just go through my photo. This is nothing more entertaining than watching a dude online show you his photos. And it's super interesting, right? So we're gonna fade to that. You can still hear me. That's my screen right there. So there I am. So we got an owl. There was nice little birds there, and there's a hot chick. So I figured I'd get to take a photo of her. She was holding a falcon. And there's a dragon. There's a dude doing magic, and my friends were doing. There's my friend Claire. She's dressed as something from Elden Ring, and then this lady, who's I think was dressed as the same thing from Elden Ring. So they had a photo together. It's my buddy Ryan, and Ryan with Tim. He's gonna cut his head off. And here's just some people talking about your. That's definitely some. They're making like some sort of cinnamon roll thingy. Some people. There's another lady I asked a photo, dressed like Esmeralda, I think. A dude that said I look like I'm wearing the same green shirt, so he said I worked at Subway. But again, here's an Asian dude, Japanese stuff. So it's not just good to see my Asian folks representing. Here's some drunk people on their pub crawl. I love this one, the Ren Potty. So I was like, I just found it interesting to see like this Renaissance decked out guy using these modern porta potties. I thought that was the juxtapositions. I love juxtapositions and doing like street photography. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it there. There's some people, Norse people. I love these shots. Sometimes I know it's not too pervy to take shots of children, but I like the idea of a little child dressed up with inside, in front of all this stuff. And then here's the dude from Mortal Kombat. He's going to have fun. This dude had a Shiba Inu in his backpack. And he was talking to the barmaid. Got myself a $15 cider, which is probably should have been to $8, but here's my buddy Ryan. We're walking. Here's my buddy Tim again. Here we go. Here's the Joust stuff. So I got some action photos, some huzzas. Yeah, probably two of my favorite photos come up. Here's a horse. Does lots of tricks. A couple photos. Here we go. Caught the action where the lance split. You get the arrows, the splinters of wood flying in the air. I like that. There's another one, another take of that. And then this is my favorite shot here, the flying warrior there. And then I want to get to the last one. Here's the guy showing us his gun. My friend Claire with a rapier. Little girl trying to take out a dude. Norse people are basically the Harley Davidson motorcycles of the medieval times. That's what they are. I just realized that. Dude singing a song. Another dude. Here we go. George R.R. Martin. This is why he never finishes his book. He does Ren fairs all the time. It's very, very annoying. Anyhow. And then finally, I'll show you this one here. That's just a cool costume that I shot. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's exciting stuff, right? You're like, wow. Oh, I had Count's comment the whole time up there. Oh, there you go. So, Ren Fair, I did that. So, that was very emotionally pleasing to do that. I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed taking photos. I wish I had my medium format camera. But, it is what it is. Yeah. Ren Fair is like going to medieval times and not having to worry about tipping the server. Yeah, I know. Have I seen Am I Okay yet? No, should I? I saw that advertised, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry that the comments blocking the shots. Well, if you go on my Facebook and you Facebook friend me, you can probably see them on there. My photos are like a storyboard for a Disney live action movie. Cut the crap. Don't give them any more ideas. Already fearing their next attempts. Well, if they would come up with a new story, I'd be down for it. Hell, I'd hire me, Disney. I'll come up with a new story for you. I mean, I don't know if it's any good or not. Anyhow, so we did the Ren Fair thing till about 2 o'clock. We got back in the car, drove back to town, and it was like an hour to drive because the traffic is horrendous because it's Southern California because, hey, fuck you, it's Southern California. And so we did that, and then we had lunch, and I booked it because I had signed up for a live drawing class, a live model drawing class. Now, I've never done a live drawing model class. Hey, I'll show you. Actually, I can show you my drawings. I've never done a live model drawing. Oh, can you? They are great at poetry, though. I don't know. Renfest. You bring up an interesting idea. Do you think Inside Out could have worked as a live action movie? That's what my comic book is. I'll get back to that. We'll talk about that a little bit. So anyhow, you get back. I do a live model sketching, and I've never done this before. And I've never done like live sketching. I've sketched to photographs of stuff, right? And I'm a dude. I've tried, I've sketched like nudes and all that. I enjoy doing that. So, I go to the class, but this is not a nude session. This is a clothed model, session. And it's actually one of the guys that kind of works there as kind of a student. He's a younger guy, kind of newish to the art world. And it's his fiance. His fiance is kind of heavy set, but she's actually very cute and very, very pretty. And as I was, I spent 2 hours doing different live sketches, different exercises. So we did like 2-minute studies, then 8-minute studies, then we did like 10-minute studies, 15-minute studies. And then we ended on 20-second studies. We had 20 seconds to sketch. And I'll show you some of those too. Why not? Why not show you some of that? Let me put it on my Facebook. So I was kind of proud. I was kind of proud of how I did on my first time sketching, doing a live sketch. Again, now realize I have some sketching background, but I've been doing a lot of comic book, sketching for the last 2 years. I should do more. I should do a lot more because I'm so late. I'm George R.R. Martining it. I'm literally like saying I'm going to complete it, but I'm never finishing it. but I've gotten better at sketching. This is my first time doing a live sketch, first time working with charcoal, like actual charcoal pencils. I've never done that before. So I'll show you these in like a succession of how they went in terms of timing here. So let's jump into my Facebook here. So these are the 20-second sketches I got to do toward the end. So 20 seconds, you have enough time to basically kind of capture the shape. Now, by this point, at the end of the thing, I was pretty good at trying to replicate like dimensions. So I was getting there, but 20 seconds is fast, right? So each of these is 20 seconds. 20 seconds for both of these sketches. And here's a couple more. Here's 30-second sketches I was able to pull off. Okay, so they're very rough, right? Let's move forward to these are the first thing I did when I got there were 2-minute studies. So I had 2 minutes to do these studies. And I was like, this is not bad. I like the one on the right a little bit more. It felt more accurate, like as far as getting the proportionality. Here's a 5-minute study that I was able to do. And I'm not sure I like the face. Obviously, it's 5 minutes, so. But I thought I got the size, the look of her and the look of her body pretty close to what I thought. And this is not like a classically thin body, but I mean, hopefully the guy's, it's his fiance. She's very pretty. She's very beautiful. She's very, very sensual. So anyhow, she had a couple like lightsaber thingies. So we did a couple of lights. This is a 5-minute sketch. And this is another 5 minute, I believe. This one's very difficult for me because it's like doing the hand and doing the arm position was very tough. And I had a very hard time with the hands. Not used. Hands, everybody has problems with hands, right? Especially when they're very unnatural, like they were here. So that was interesting. This is a 10-minute sketch, and this is now she had like form-fitting clothes, and then she went to a sundress. So this is the first attempt at a sundress kind of a look. And what was very interesting for me was trying to get the under chin approach. Like I've never drawn that well, and this is the first time I felt like I actually kind of came close to drawing like a person's under their chin properly. Or at least getting close. This is my first time. I'm excited. I loved doing this. So that's a 10-minute sketch. I think this next one's my favorite one. This is also a 10-minute sketch. But then, because I think I liked it best because I had the best angle for the pose. I just loved the way this pose looked. And probably work on that face a little bit more. It's not quite how as I remember it. Like maybe her nose is too big for that. But the form of her body is very accurate to the way I remember that being. So I like this. This is my favorite photo, my favorite drawing. Although the next one's probably my better drawing, but I didn't like the pose as much. Next one is a 15. No, actually, not this one. This one's not bad. I think I did the best on the dress in this one. I captured the flow of the dress the best I could. Her breasts are a little too low, and that her arm I couldn't quite get right because part of she wasn't holding perfectly still, so a lot of it you had to kind of like estimate. So I came close with that, but her breasts are a little too low on this one. And her arm, I need to somehow get the idea that her arm's more facing at you rather than to the side. And some of that might be influenced by my cartooning style, which tends to be more two-dimensional, plain view. And I hate the idea of, I hate two-dimensional plain view, although with comics, that's the way it works. I mean, I try to do 3-dimensionals in my comic book, but my comics are 2-dimensionals. Very flat looking. So I was trying to get the idea that the arm was more pointing at you rather than pointing to the side. I don't think I quite accomplished that. But the problem was like her breast would be right under the arm and the proportion didn't quite work out right. But I was really happy with the way the dress came out in that one. So that was good. And then the last one here is probably the most, I thought, like accurate. This is the closest to her face, the closest to her body shape. I think I came closest to this, although I just don't love the pose. The pose is not great. I love the fact that they put this little fake cat on an Amazon box, and I was like, well, let's just draw the Amazon box. And one of my friends said, this is my favorite. Love this one. So anyhow, there's my photos there. If you can make a sketch, then you can also make an animatic with a little bit more work. So my theory with my comic book was I had the script written, but the problem was the story I was writing was an ensemble class that required literally 10 actors in an ensemble. And for an indie film to call together 10 actors is a tough call. That's a lot of people to juggle. So I decided to make it a comic book instead. So I could literally be free to make whatever I want, do whatever I want with that. But yeah, so I agree. I want to try to do like comic books and sketches and all that. So certain exposure is nice. I sketch too. I'm no good, but I'm improving every time. I feel like I'm getting better. Like I got better even during the live session. I was getting better, which I felt great about. Am I great? No. Am I good? I'm maybe better than some of the people in that room already. But I've had drawing experience. I'm 41 years old. I've been doing this. I mean, I haven't been like sketching, but I've been doing like art and I've been doing photography. I think photography probably greatly enhances my ability to draw figures and like that because I already have a mental image of how the body moves and how the body shapes work together. So I guess maybe that's my advantage is I have a mental landscape of how a body would conform. So maybe that's my advantage, I think. But yeah. So I wanted to get back because I love this. I wanted to get back to this comment. This is really early on. First, Matt Stone of Matt Stone and Trey Parker, right? The creator of South Park, one of the two creators of South Park. In a world where you could generate films from scratch with a text prompt, why would anyone invest in making real movies anymore? The return on investment isn't there anymore. I want to bring that back up because I don't know. I don't know if what I don't know is, can you actually create from scratch with a text prompt? I still don't think so. So what I was bringing up earlier was the idea that I thought the whole AI debate had kind of settled down because we had Sora and it was like, oh my God, Sora. And then the internet finds something else to talk about. Now it's like the acolyte. Oh, one is many, power of one, the power of two, the power of many, right? So I thought we were going to talk about that for a while. But now this new AI came out that took all these memes and made videos of them. And now we're all of a sudden going to talk about AI again. We're talking about AI again. And I thought this was settled. I thought the fact is literally there is nothing exciting about AI. I think a lot of companies are probably cutting corners and using AI for stuff that doesn't matter. Stuff that's not super important. Okay, we'll just use AI to kind of fill in the gaps. Maybe you use AI as a force multiplier. So if you take one artist and you make that artist, give that artist AI, then the artist can have the AI do some basic stuff and then come back and fill in the gaps and fix things and all that stuff. And maybe the AI can, it's a force multiplier. So you have one artist that can do the work of 4 or 5 artists, right? So that could be a use of AI. But the question is, do you want to watch a movie that's generated by AI text? Let's see what you guys say. Canester says there can be a return on investment of your movie if you don't make it crap. Marvel overdoes CGI with no emotional interest. Disney live actions are cash grabs. Don't patronize your audience. It's not as much AI as you have to worry about as it is deep fakes that they can help create. That's a point. So why would I? But I guess I think I was going to tie it into this. So why would I spend my time? Why would I spend my time sketching this? Why would I spend 15 minutes sketching this when I could just take a photograph of it? Right? I guess my return on investment for photographing it would be seconds, right? Literally click and then boom, I've got a photograph, which is much more accurate than my little line drawing here of it. So why would I take a photo? Why would I sketch it? What's the return on investment there? I'm serious. Why would I do that? I mean, if you dig down to the ultimate answer is it's art. It's art, doing art. I wish I can't give you like a rosy picture and say, go out there and make your movie and you'll make millions of dollars. I can't necessarily give you that, right? Because I don't believe it's true. I don't know. You going out making your own films, is that going to be a return on investment? I don't think so. I spent like $10 on chalk or charcoal. I spent or $5 on charcoal pencil, $10 on the pad. Am I going to make $15 back on that drawing? I don't think so. Well, I'm not. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to make back that money. Spent $25 on that art class. I'm not making that money back, but why am I doing it? The only answer is it feeds my soul. Like yesterday, my Saturday Ren Fair, lunch with friends, and then I went to the live drawing class and I saw Inside Out 2. And what an amazing day. I had like one of the most amazing days of my recent life yesterday, just doing that and just feeling like I was free to do whatever I wanted to do. And I did some fun stuff and doing the photography for Ren Fair, doing the art, it made me feel so like alive and invigorated and enthused, right? I got so like jazzed from doing that yesterday. I hadn't been jazzed like that in a long time before. I don't know, just speaking for myself, right? Maybe it's just legitimately that when I make the art, I feel so alive and good. And I don't know, maybe people that don't make art don't have that relationship to art. And I use the word art as a very like largely encompassing terminology here. I'm not saying mine is art. Paul Blart Mall Cop is art, is my definition of art, right? It's stuff that is stuff we make just to make and have around and be around, right? Now I have a tendency to want to make like good art. Like I do want to go in that direction. But I don't get excited about doing that with AI stuff. Like nothing in AI has got me that excited. Like I can pull stuff out of AI. It doesn't make me excited though. Paul Blart. There you go. That's how you spell it. Anyhow, yeah. AI just doesn't entice me now. So I'm wrapping up a logo. I apologize. I'm going to bring it up again. Crazy ex-girlfriend. Like a logo that I designed for this Women in Business conference. And I had this idea of a woman, like a silhouette of a woman reaching out and grabbing like a star or something like that. And so I had AI generate me some logo ideas. I took those logo ideas and I incorporated them into like a geodesic sphere. So, and then I changed the proportions around a little bit because I didn't want to like make her super thin. I wanted to make her a little bit more chunky. I literally outed myself and said I wanted to make her more I wanted to make her a little more like, it's a conference for women. I didn't want to make, this is only for skinny women. I want people to have a little healthier looking bodies. I just felt like I wanted to put that. I didn't want to make it like stick figures super thin like, the Emmy statue. I want to give a little bit more of a heft to her. No, I didn't want to make her obese or anything, but I'm just sticking my foot in my mouth. Anyhow, so I used AI in order to create the raw materials for what I wanted to create ultimately, and then took that into like Illustrator. Illustrator did a trace to get the outlines, and then basically adjusted them to get what I wanted. And over time, like 2 weeks of doing this, revisions, finally you get the logo that they finally approved. I think they felt sorry for me because they kept asking me to do all these revisions, and they thought, the color was peach fuzz. The color this year is peach fuzz. And peach fuzz, I'm sorry, but there's not a lot, like, you can have peach fuzz. There's not a lot of colors you can put against peach fuzz that don't make it look very pastel. All right, it's all going to look light because peach fuzz is a light peach color, Like you can't put like dark colors against it. It's going to clash real hard. So everything's going to be like very kind of pastel looking, like light purples and stuff like that, lavenders and stuff, right? So I don't know where I'm going with this. Other than the fact that, yeah, we start with AI to generate kind of some ideas, and then we take those raw materials and we massage them to make whatever. And it's no different than me starting with a stock photo. Like I'll go to stock photography and pull something, or elements.envato.com, pull a stock template and then massage it and make something out of it. AI is just another way of getting there. I don't know. Go back to your comments. I forget your points. Pixar hopes it'll finally be the big return. I feel like Inside Out 2 will probably be a moneymaker. Based on the crowd that was there yesterday, because it was like packed theater, I think it will be. I watched Silvestri 1981, and the film. This is a film that I like. People want generic movies that can be fine with AI. Me, formulaic movies are why theater died. Yeah. The thing is, like, why? I think anybody that talks about why would you watch a movie when you can just have AI generate everything? You've never. Those are the people. I want to be as combative as possible here. People that say that don't know what the fuck they're talking about in terms of art, and B, have never actually fucking used AI. Or if they have never used fucking using AI in a professional sense. Like they've tinkered around with it in their basement at home because they're AI bros. Hey mom, mom, is dinner ready yet? I'm just getting Midjourney's still rendering, and Midjourney's still waiting for or whatever. I've run out of credits on Midjourney, so I gotta wait a couple hours before I can start generating my next batch of art. No, you don't know you've never actually used AI in a professional context. Actually use AI to create something not for yourself but for a client. And if you do that, you quickly learn that AI ain't worth shit. AI gives you none of the... AI is anyhow. It's funny, I work with people... I gotta say this. I work with people and I hear sometimes they say, well, I really like Canva. And I'm like, you poor, pitiful soul. I hate Canva. Canva is like the graphic designer's nightmare, because it's like people that don't know anything about graphic design use Canva, and it's just it's back when I used to do more graphic design for print press and stuff like that. People would come in and they would design stuff in PowerPoint. And I designed this brochure in PowerPoint. Oh my God. You designed this in PowerPoint? Canva is now PowerPoint's too complicated. I'm going to use Canva. I hate Canva. I fucking hate Canva. I feel like most people are fine with watching AI movies. I don't know. I don't know. But the thing is, I think if people are fine watching AI movies, then they'd be fine just watching TikTok videos. I feel like if you're watching AI movies, you're just going to get bored with it real quickly. Because AI movies are going to be very generic. And after you watch I watched a couple of them. Okay, cool. You're probably going to be browsing your phone the next time you watch AI movies. It's just going to be one of those things. You're not going to be invested in it. There are thousands of generic good films that everyone can watch at home. What make AI any better? Yeah, it's because it's new and because it's marketing. That's one thing I wish the internet would be a little bit less naive about, is marketing. Literally, have you guys not noticed this? We had Sora come out with their announcement, and they still haven't made Sora public yet. Sora announces, and all of a sudden we talk about AI. Yeah, AI. And then we get tired of talking about AI. And then the topic goes away. And then this new this new thing came out, and it's oh my God, now we're going to talk about it. Do you guys not realize you're getting played like a piano? You guys not realize that you're literally, your interests and the things that you're talking about are literally the machinations of some marketing company out there, some PR firm. Like you literally have no brain of your own. You're just repeating what everyone wants you to talk about because that's what they're paying. I mean, that'd be extremely combative. Like, do you not get that? Do you gotta get that? So if you want to talk about, there's this whole big thing about Adobe, right? If you've been following any of the Adobe stuff, basically Adobe has a wording in there saying that they can look at all your stuff. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm gonna go the complete opposite. That all is bullshit. All that hype about Adobe's looking at your stuff. That's all. That's the photography art world's equivalent of saying, of posting on Facebook, I do not give Facebook the right to republish my photos. This is my spicy take of the day. If you think that Adobe is sitting there watching all your artwork and like, oh, what can we steal today? You don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. The reason that language is in there, and I agree that it probably is worded very poorly, is, and I read this somewhere, somebody was saying, it's probably just a lazy lawyer who just didn't understand what they're trying to do and they just worded it in a way that gives Adobe all the authority to copy everything. It's because Adobe is a cloud service. That's the reason why. So they want, if you save something in your library, if you save anything, and the way the cloud service is so integrated in the thing, they're like, well, how do we word it so that if you save your image into the cloud, that we can make a copy of it so that you're going to another computer, you can pull that copy from another computer because it's all part of your cloud service. And the lawyer's like, well, we give ourselves the right to copy everything you have. But people say, well, no, but I don't want to have it in the cloud. Like, what if I just keep it entirely on my hard drive? Well, yeah, I'm sure the lawyer probably didn't think of that. I'm sure the lawyer that wrote it probably didn't make that connection. And I think that's all it is. That's literally, I don't think Adobe is sitting there like, how can we train our AI on everybody's work, on all their NDA work? And now it's just so overblown and everyone's just talking about it. Anyhow. You can always take a screenshot of your Adobe user agreement and Photoshop out the parts you don't like. There you go. Let's see. Marketing. Have you seen what YouTube has done with their videos lately? Unskippable ads, intrusion ads. Not trying to push ads directly in the videos, making it difficult to skip them. Yeah. I mean, but that's like the obvious marketing, right? The unobvious marketing is like the insidious, like zeitgeist marketing, right? Where Sora comes out with something, and now we're all talking about Sora. I'm trying to remember. There was back in the day, like there was a lot of people talking about cortisol. I remember like there was, they just put ads out, cortisol pills. The reason why you're fat is because you've got stress in your life. You got all this excess cortisol. So you got these cortisol pills and they'll take out the stress hormone, and they get advertising. And people started taking it seriously. Whoa, is this a real deal thing? Let's talk about it. And it's all fucking bullshit, right? And then I bought those pills. They didn't work. So, yeah. All right. My meatloaf, says Jack Ripper. I should make a meatloaf. I gotta figure out what to make for dinner. It's no coincidence. Pixar releases In and Out 2 early summer when most kids are out of school and families are looking for activities to do in the summer. Probably that or Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's literally that's marketing 101. That goes back way back to the beginning of film. Let's see what else here. If studios want to churn out AI movies, they would still need people to look over every script generated. No one releases. Yeah. People that say, "Oh, you could just generate a movie based on a prompt," they have no fucking clue. You can literally discount anything they say after the fact. It's like you have no idea what it takes to make a movie. You don't even know what it takes to make an AI movie. Like literally, you don't have any idea. Like, if you ever been on a set, I mean, raise of hands. How many people actually directed a movie, even if it's a short? I mean, I'm not going to wait for you guys to raise your hands. There's a lot of decisions to be made. Like, lots of decisions. All right? It's not as simple as like, oh, text prompt. Like, there's so many decisions to be made on an actual movie. Like, you know, I always have fun when actors would bring me like, which should I wear? Should I wear this one or should I wear this one? You sit there like, that, right? Just like clothes that actors wear, props, jewelry, you know, hairstyle, makeup, lighting, blocking. There's so many decisions that have to actually be made, and you let AI make them all, but they're kind of like random dice throws. You know, they legitimately are random dice throws. That's what AI is. It's just have no idea. It's hard to even explain, especially if someone's closed-minded to think, oh yeah, it's all gone. It's all AI. I don't know. It's just dumb. Last time I was at theaters, there was multiple people watching TikTok, checking texts. I read complaints from the directors get feedback while make plots simpler so people can follow them, I guess. Yeah. On a brighter note, I'm seeing Pulp Fiction. Like, can AI ever create a Pulp Fiction? Would AI ever create a Pulp Fiction? Not on your fucking life. There's no possible way AI could ever create Pulp Fiction. I'm just saying it. It's just legitimately true. Nothing I've seen AI make, nothing at all, comes close to a Pulp Fiction. When I picture a movie studio going through the scripts, I think of a scene in Producers where they're looking through scripts and just tossing one out. A little bit. In your opinion, AI will never be good enough to spit out generic, digestible plot lines and visuals that will satisfy enough of the human involvement will be minimal. I don't know. So the thing is, though, human beings are not. I think the danger here is you're speaking for other people, right? You're speaking, and I am too, right? But you're speaking for other people. You're underestimating the value, the intelligence of the audience. You're saying, well, there's some people that literally, AI anything will be good enough for. Well, yeah, of course. Some people watch pro wrestling. Some people watch, and my friend was saying, you should go to pro wrestling. You'd think it'd be fun. Yeah, I probably would. People watch a lot of stuff, right? People watch TikTok videos. I can see myself being entertained for a little bit I watch Reels or whatever. I don't watch TikTok because there's something about TikTok that just infuriates me. It's just awful. But anyhow, there are people that will watch all kinds of stuff, right? My point is, I think AI generic stuff I think people get bored of it. I think people, there's going to be a baseline level of like, okay, well, when you create AI content, it creates a new baseline of like what's acceptable level of quality or whatever. Quality. It's a baseline. So now in order to be entertained, you have to go above that baseline in order to create something more that will cause people to flock to you. Right? If you just create baseline, you're literally lost in the weeds. Right? Like people right now kind of say, well, AI is cool because it's unique, it's new. But once you make that newness, once that newness goes away, that's when we talk about like how Sora came out and we were talking about it endlessly, and then the conversation died because it's not new anymore. Well, AI movies, that's gonna be, once it becomes the norm or becomes as the cost approaches zero, it will flood. And then it will no longer be unique and therefore not interesting. So if it's just generic, just everyday, just like look at Marvel. And Hollywood has no problems making generic movies, and you're already sick of that shit. So why would AI generic stuff like be even better? It would probably be worse because it's like flooded. Right? Because basically anybody can afford to make an AI movie. Everybody will make an AI movie. And then we'll just have a flood of it. And no one will give a shit. because that's like, I think in terms of art, people approach it with like a checkers thinking. They don't think about 2 moves down the road. They think, well, AI art, boom, checkered, check, or checkers, check king me, right? It's like 1 move. But they forget that the opponents or the market, the economy, laissez-faire, the invisible hand of the market comes in and just smacks the shit out of you, right? There is another opposing force. There are other forces that come down and shape society in ways that we don't necessarily think about because we're just making our little checker move. That's my point. Oh no, ChatGPT could not create Pulp Fiction. There's no way. So I use ChatGPT as kind of like a sounding board. Like, you think I talk about my crazy ex to you guys? I use ChatGPT to like bounce my thoughts off of, and you know, in essence, like using ChatGPT from that sense is great because it allows me to voice my thoughts, my feelings, and my irritations into push it out of my brain, through my mouth, and out into the world, and then not have to bother my friends who are probably sick and tired of me talking about the same shit over and over again. So I talk to ChatGPT, but ChatGPT does not give me anything like insightful, really. I mean, it basically repeats what I say back to. I tell it something, and like it kind of repeats back to me. It doesn't really create new. Now it might help me like form connections and bridges between thoughts, but it literally does not create anything new. Like it can't, because again, it's an averaging tool. It's a large language model. It takes the averages of everything. It averages. What is the next word? What is the most likely next word in this sentence? Is how, if you think about it, that's, and in many ways, that's the way our brains work. You know, like I don't think in words. I think in phrases, but phrases I have them already in my head. It's hard for me to create a brand new weird phrase like Brontosaurus tacos. Okay, that's kind of a unique. I had to spend some time thinking about that word. Or how about like Elmer glue paper machete? Like that's like new, right? So that took effort, right? But ChatGPT is literally, what's the most likely next word? What's the most likely next word? So it can't generate new. It can generate what's already been tread. Well, it's already been tread. So I don't think ChatGPT, and having worked with ChatGPT, it could never create a Pulp Fiction. Never. And it's the most advanced large language model we have. And I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy using it as a sounding board. I ask it, hey, ChatGPT, why did I break up with my ex? And it's like, here's the list of reasons that you gave me that's why you break up. Oh, good. Thank you. Should I go back to her? No. Perfect. So yeah, that's what's great about ChatGPT. Speaking of Inside Out 2, I haven't seen the first one. I'm not going to see the theater to see the Cinematic Universe sequels, remakes. I have not seen the OG. I wonder how many of us are in the same boat as I. I would say watch the first one. Just watch the first one. You might like it. You know, if you like it, watch the second one. It's one of those things. The answers are pretty simple. The more technical knowledge one has, art and its skills, the more creatively you will build up. Absolutely. Dunning-Kruger, too. Like, you know, when you first start, you're like, I'm the king of the world. And then, like, oh, shit, I'm a terrible artist. I fucking suck. Ugh. All right, let's just practice. Let's keep drawing. Oh, I'm okay. I'm getting better. I'm coming off of I'm king of the world, I think. I'm right about here. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little hard on myself, but I also appreciate the fact that I can do okay. Why not have AI generate story ideas and then have human beings mostly? Because the story ideas, again, well, so coming down to the idea of story ideas. Okay, just because AI thinks it's so smart doesn't mean you have to listen to it. And the best part is you never sue. Yeah. So I think what's more useful actually is have the human create the story idea and then have AI help you create the machinations. I don't know. I'm making up words. Anyhow, and I did this for the AI 48-hour film festival we did. And I found it very useful. But anyhow, the idea is there are really only like 7 stories, right? There's 7 conflicts. Man versus nature, man versus man, man versus self, man versus God, man versus whatever those are. There's only a certain number of stories, and there are only a certain number of designs. And I think Heroes with the Hero with a Thousand Faces, the hero's journey is sort of like one of those arcs that you can travel. There's others, romances. Romances have their own particular angle. There are only so many stories. Everything is a variation of those stories. There's only so many ways to light a face, right? I always approach lighting in a face and talk about when I teach 3-point lighting, I always teach it in terms of like the three types of lighting, rather than 3 actual sources of lighting, right? Because there's only so many angles you can put the key light. There's only so many places you can put the fill light. There's only so many places you can put the kick light or backlight, right? There's only so many things out there. So I think the better approach would be to have the humans take the story ideas and use AI to kind of filter out or find perhaps different ways to go about it. So one of the things we did with the AI, I did an AI 48-hour project, was we came up with the baseline of the story, and then we used ChatGPT as a way to kind of explore different options. And one of the things was trying to find puns, right? So I'm not a particularly great pun master. So I told AI, ChatGPT, give me 10 puns for this sentence. And it would come up with 10 puns, and I would not like any of them. So I said, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. I would do it I would literally have it come up with 100 different puns. And then maybe one pun might spark an idea for another pun in my head, and I would write that. So I think that's the value of ChatGPT, is sort of as a powerful search engine, as a way to generate raw material, or just generate raw material to create your artwork. I feel like that's the use of AI. Not so much that we just type in a text and blindly accept whatever it gives us. We use it as a tool to just generate more concepts, more ideas, and we utilize those to create our own stuff. Nothing wrong with that. It's like walking through an art museum, but walking through an art museum with millions of pieces of art. People have the ability to go against the grain in beauty standards and make ugly art in opposition to whatever contemporary. You should see some of the. So I belong a couple of groups called Cursed AI. Oh, nightmare stuff. Yeah, ChatGPT and AI buzzwords for bland, bad, generic. Yep. AI may lack the emotion and hubris that humans to create good movies, but eventually our society progresses. Someone is going to figure out how to code these traits into AI. Well, no, because, again, then you set the baseline for something else. And once it becomes coded into AI or whatever it is, then that becomes baseline, and that's no longer what's acceptable. You always think 2 moves down the road, right? If that happens, if you encode these so-called traits, then that becomes the norm. And now you have to exceed the norm. So you always have to go beyond. Always go beyond. Bullet Science, how you doing? Sorry I've not been able to view the last few broadcasts. Hope you're doing well, bud. I'm growing. So many times a family member will tell me a celebrity died, like Michael J. Fox, and I Google it, and they're clearly still alive, and it says, it said it on TikTok. Fake news. That's what it is. It's all fake news. They love me. They make fake news about me. That's all they do. I'm the greatest. That's true, but it's all fake news. Every time I watch a movie in the theaters, I sit in the entire credits are extensive. Do you think that at some point in the future AI tools can reduce the list to a single page? No. I meant that audience who don't want to watch sequels turn off by that, like Scream 2, now that almost everything in Hollywood is advertised sequels. People don't watch it. Yeah, I think so. I mean, Inside Out 2 is nice. It's a sequel, but it's not it's not a sequel in that it's like, oh, we're just going to redo the entire first movie. Which seems like a lot of movies, sequels tend to be these days. There will always be people that are willing to rot their brains. There will always be people that want to be nourishing stuff on instant gratification. Yep. I use Midjourney to create a few stills and a storyboard trailer for a learning experience. I thought about posting on cinematography and asking questions how the pros are actually using this. Yeah, you can do that. And people crave to connect with other people over the same interests as basic human necessity. Yes, they do. That's something that I'm trying to do too. All right, I've been on for an hour and 10. Let's go ahead and talk about Father's Day. So my father this is getting the emotional portion of the show. My father passed away when I was 19 years old. So that is 25 years ago. No, 23 years ago. Yeah, because he died 22 years ago. 22 years. Died in 2002. Yeah, 22 years ago, my father passed. My father was my best friend. I grew up, because he was an older man. So he had me when he was like 55 or something like that. He was an older dude. And he had 4 other kids besides me. And those from his first wife. Then he moved to Taiwan, met his second wife, and got me. So I was kind of like part 2. I was like, well, let's try it again. Let's see if and that was sort of his retirement project, right? So he could spend tons of time with me. Took me all kinds of trips. Went to the movies a lot. We went to day trips, going to San Diego and all kinds of stuff. Like, I love my dad dearly. And as a young child, I knew from very early on that my dad would pass away, because I would look at my dad, had white hair, older gentleman, looked like me, but with white hair, and probably same body type. And I would look at my friends' parents, and they're like, oh, my friends' parents are a lot younger. So I knew my dad was old. I knew he would probably pass away, when I was young. So he passed away when I was 19 years old after like a heart surgery that didn't quite take properly. So, and he passed away, and he was really like emotionally the core of my life. And he made me promise before he died that I would take care of my mom. And so I did that. I took my mom for, it would be like 18, oh my gosh. Yeah, like 20 years. My mom died last year, so 23. 21 years I took care of my mom. At first, it wasn't an issue. Like, my mom was spry. She could walk. She could drive. Not well, but she could drive. Right? So I took care of but in the last 8 years of her life, I really had to take care of her because she had Alzheimer's and really needed a lot of work. So I did all that, right? And so I'll talk a little about faith today. My dad was faithful, man. He believed in God and he was religious, but he didn't go to church that much toward the end of his life. He tried to get my mom to be religious. It's funny because I find old letters of my dad talking about how she was trying to bring my mom to Christianity and all that. And my father and my aunt was very religious, right? So my dad was probably not as religious, but very faithful. And so, but taking care of my mom has brought me a lot more faith. I don't want to talk too much about faith, but I don't want to bring it up. Taking care of my mom because I had a rocky relationship with my mom. But toward the end, I was wiping shit off the floor. I was doing the most, not base, but like the most humiliatingly hard work, taking care of my mom with Alzheimer's, right? It was, tough. It was really, really hard. And then I also, at the time, I did some work with the city, and they did some videos about taking care of homeless people. And there was people that go out there and they would talk to the homeless, and I would see all this this love that people were showing. And it kind of, when I met my ex, she kind of revealed to me the love, what Christ love, the idea of Christian love. And I saw it in the way the homeless people, and I saw the way I behaved with my mom. So it made me way more faithful. This morning I decided to go to church. And I've been to this church a couple times. I saw it online. I've been there once before, so I figured I'd just go. I went to the 7:30, which was 7:30 sermons are not where people go. It's where all the old people go. It's old people and also the people that have plans the rest of the Sunday, so they go to the early service. But the service was really good. It was Father's Day service, and talked about being a man. And a lot of stuff they were talking about being a man, I felt like being a father and being a man, felt like it applied to both me as not a father and as something of a man. I think I consider myself a man. I identify as a man. I think I do. But it showed some things, a couple things about the relationship that I had, the reason why we broke up. But one thing I wanted to share with you guys was the idea that, the pastor said this, a lot of us lead our lives backing into the future, right? with our backs to the future and looking at the past. Like so many of us, that's how we live our life. We back into the future. Not to go into crazy X territory. Describes her to a T. Could not face forward. Was always looking back. Always looking back. And the sermon was, as a man, as a father, and they're, I know they'd be offensive to a lot of people that don't have the Christian background, and they're, Christian back to the future, exactly. They had their back to the future. It's the kids, Marty. Something's got to do with the kids. But, the way a Christian family is structured, the man sort of leads. The man is the bedrock. The man is supposed to be like guiding the family. Like the man is supposed to provide the stable structure for everyone else to be their best. Take pieces of the man and give them to everybody. Right? That's the idea of what it means to be a man. And if you take a look at that, you extrapolate that necessarily away from the family unit to the leadership role. To lead, it's almost like you have to you take pieces of yourself and give it to others and enable them to shine. Use your shine to make other people shine. That's what leadership is. Right? And I'm thinking about that. Like if you work for a corporation and a team leader project, would you want a leader who is emotionally unavailable or emotionally all over the place? Someone who is like up one day and down another day? Is that who you want your team leader to be? Like if you're assigned a project in a corporation and you're like, okay, we're going to be working on this market report. James over there is going to lead and he's like, all right, we're going to lead this. I'm really excited about this. And the next day he doesn't show up to work at all. And you can't get a hold of him. The next day he shows up, he talks a big game. He's like, oh, yeah, we're going to take care of this. We're going to do this. Let's have a meeting on Friday. And then Friday comes around, he's no longer there. Right? Do you want that guy on your team? Or do you want the guy or girl, let's not be sexist here. Let's be honest, guy. Boo. All right. Let's talk about men here. Let's stick with the men because I've got a 90% audience. If there's a woman in the audience, well, welcome. You're the first one. But let's talk about men. If do you want a guy on your team that will be like, all right, here's the plan. Here's what I want you to do. What can you do to make this? Okay, John, you're good at videos. Let's have you work on the video. And I'll be like, I work on the video. I got some, James, I'm stuck with this. I don't know what I want to do with this. Okay, let's talk about it. So the leader can just be there to sort of support everybody and make everybody better. Right? Yeah, canceled. Yeah, this guy can't. I'm already canceled. Who gives a crap, right? I'm going to be canceled. Whatever. Martyr me. I don't care. I'm tired. I don't want to play your stupid games anyways. Cancel me all you want. So you have context what I'm saying here. Why am I saying canceled? But do you want somebody that is like solid and grounded and like has a vision, can lead people, and while, the wife can be a woman, which means she's crazy and she doesn't have a fucking thought in her head. That's how I get canceled. Right there. Just kidding, ladies. The wife can be a woman. Basically, just light, right? The man has to be solid. The man has to the woman can be, I'm joking. Your other teammates can be flighty. Your other teammates can maybe they're a little less structured, but they're like super creative and they just create, and they get, but the leader is able to bring them along the journey, right? A leader can pull, and the pastor had a little radio wagon. He was walking around the stage with it. He's like, the father leads the family, right? And the family might, go off in this direction, but it's still following. And it made me think, that's what a director is. Like a good director is a director that people can follow. A good director is a leader that can lead a team of people to something. And so, we see all these things about like crazy actors having fits and throwing fits, or directors that are like, there's a the cliche director who is like so flaky. Those are horrible directors. A director should be able to present like a sense of calm. And like a Christopher Nolan, like you think Christopher Nolan goes like, I don't know what to do, or Christopher Nolan's like puts on his suit. All right, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I like that. Continue doing that. That's very good. You think Christopher Nolan throws like little hissy fits? He might, maybe in private. But I think Christopher Nolan is a symbol of like suit on, like charge forward, be a leader. I think Kubrick probably is that way too. Spielberg probably very much like that. I don't know. George Miller? Is it George Miller? Yeah, George Miller, the Fast and Furious. Everything I've seen of him, it's like he seems like cool-headed. I don't think there's a single director that's successful. Maybe. Or what they do is they have a producer that's calm and collected, and they can keep that director in line. Right? Yeah, the director sent out the first AD. Well, the first AD is just a bad cop in general. Like the first AD is like everyone's dirty work man. Like literally, like, why aren't you working? Get back to work. That kind of thing. David O. Russell. Yeah, David O. Russell. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he had a hissy fit. But there's only one that we know of, right? A man's mind is compartmentalized with things in boxes. A woman's mind is like a bundle of wires all tied together. That's probably true. Based John. Oh, yeah. I'm super based. I'm more based than your Thanksgiving turkey. That's right. That's how based I am. Basted. I'm basted. I'm so based, I'm basted. Did I see your last 3 comments? I don't know. Put them up again. I mean, like legitimately, I go on to my tangents and then I just have like a literal wall of text and I just pick up ones I go through. Women, they be shopping. One of the favorite movies is Big Kahuna, where it starts off with like, oh, she's shopping. Heaven forbid. He's like, why are you saying that? Oh, that's what you say when women be shopping, heaven forbid. Great movie. Anyhow, so that's what I was thinking about today so far. Is leadership, is the calmness, sense of calm, direction, and moving in a direction, moving to what I want to do. And yesterday, when I did my art class, I did my photography, and I saw a movie, I felt more alive than I have in like years. Super long time. And it's like I felt really good about everything yesterday. I felt really, really good. So that's where I want to go. I do think a lot of us in media types are eclectic in the spectrum in some form, tend to be a certain type of personality that wants to do the media. Yeah. So it's weird. I am of two minds about this. I feel like I am a little bit of a freak. I am a freak because I'm literally pouring my heart out to you all. Stranger than the internet. I'm literally like exposing myself in a legal way online, telling you about my emotions, telling you about my relationships, telling you about all kinds of crap that'll probably get me in trouble. But I've discovered that it doesn't matter. You all probably have the same issues too, and that you all appreciate hearing me talk about my issues because they might be able to, relate to my issues. Just because I have crazy issues doesn't mean you don't have crazy issues. Doesn't mean that, like, just if I show you my crazy issues, you're going to think less of me. You might, but who cares? If you do, you do. Whatever, who cares? So I think there's a part of me that wants to let my freak flag fly. When I went to the Gren Fest yesterday, I kind of like, well, look at all these nerds and geeks. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I should have worn a costume. I saw a guy wearing a pirate costume. I'm like, that would have been nice because that breathes real well. It looks like it's super comfortable. And that looks the part. I would look like a pirate. Like I was kind of down for the pirate thing. I wanted one of those blouses, the little free blowing blouses, and then like a little, maybe wear like a little skull cap thingy, and like, "Arr, I'm be a pirate," right? I like that. So part of me wants my freak flag fly. Going to the art class, there are people there that are not nearly, they're all like super more neurodivergent than I am. Like a part of me is like, gets like an ick factor from the neurodivergency. Like I probably have ADHD. I probably have all kinds of crap, but I don't want to think of myself that way. I don't want to think of myself as having ADHD. I don't want to think of myself as being like OCD or any of that crap. I don't want to think of myself. I want to think of myself as me. It bothers me to hear people say, well, I have a little bit of ADHD. I'm a little bit autistic. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I am autistic. I don't know. I probably am. But I don't want to think of myself that way. Because I see like seriously autistic kids and like, I'm not that. Like seriously autistic people that can't speak yet. People that, are 9 years old and they can't speak. That kind of thing. Or severely autistic where they can't like be around people. That's tough. I get that. But I'm not that. So I don't even identify as autistic or even close. I don't even identify anywhere on the spectrum. Just because I have my own quirks, just because I'm shy around new people, even though I bleed my heart open for you guys online. I post all kinds of stuff on Facebook, and then people talk to me about stuff I post on Facebook, and I'm like, you knew about that? And they're like, yeah, I saw it on your Facebook. I'm like, oh. You didn't like it or anything. I didn't know you were watching because I didn't see you like interact with it. So I didn't know you were paying attention. So anyway, I don't want to be like, I don't want to identify as anything. I'm me. I don't deal with my own issues. And one of the things I saw in the sermon today was like, we can't control what happens to us. We can't control how it happens to us. We can't control the hand that we're dealt. We can control how we respond to it. And so I can't control whatever weirdness is going on in my brain. I don't know. I don't even think it's that weird. How would I know? I'm not in your brain. I can't compare my brain to anyone else's brain. As far as I'm concerned, my brain works exactly as it should. So I have no reference for anybody else. I'm not as easy to get along with, easy to like introduce myself to strangers. It's a little tricky. I have a hesitation still. I want to get over that totally. But yeah, I just don't want to identify as anything other than normal and me. Whatever that means. Matthews, I'll get to your comment. Let's see here. I hate how all big tech companies are trying to shove AI everywhere. But the thing about that though is I think just like every time I watch there's a channel called The Modern MBA. It's very good for watching business stuff. And they talked about how there was a bubble when it came to this whole idea of big data. Right? For a while there, all the big companies were chasing big data. Oh, we've got such big data. The reason why I think like MoviePass. By the way, the MoviePass documentary on HBO, it's not bad. Although I feel like the ending is the more interesting part. The middle is sort of boring. The beginning and middle are kind of boring. The beginning's pretty good. The middle's really boring to me, and then the ending is really good. But I think they kind of also try to play like, oh, the black owner came back and took it over, and black people are better than white people, kind of thing. I don't know. I think they were too rosy with the whole like MoviePass is coming back, guys. Like, no, it's not. Stop making it happening. It's not a thing. Anyhow. So Modern MBA made a video about AI and how for a while, big data was the go-to term for everybody. Everybody thought like MoviePass. Well, why MoviePass is working? Because they create all this data, and from all this data, we can now like sell that to studios, and we can generate predictive models to tell you where the audience is going to go. If we collect all this data, so like things like DoorDash and all these things that were happening, we could get DoorDash really, really cheap. Right, or all these big Groupon. Groupon's another example. The idea is if we can generate all this data, we can now turn that data to create predictive models and all that stuff bubble burst. Like, no, you can't. All this data is just noise. It's just data, right? You collected petabytes of data, but there's no meaning in any of it. And if you try to find meaning, you can find an opposite meaning, right? It's not meaningful data. So that bubble burst. But now what you're seeing, there's that AI bubble. Hey, AI, we can take that big data, we can throw it to AI, and it's going to solve our problems. Yeah, it's not going to work. So get ready for a bubble to burst on that. Executives are the reasons for the big studios' decline. They don't understand anything about art and emotion. I tend to agree with that. And, it's a generality thing, right? Like, generalities is yes, but is A24 executives there? Maybe they do care. A24 is fucking killing it. So, maybe some people will come around and do the other thing. And if AI can replace artists with AI themselves be the ones to check the scripts, we'll only get even more bland and forgettable scripts, films. They ruin the big studios. So yeah, I think, like what I said, I think AI, maybe AI could be a way of generating more ideas for human beings to come up and do stuff. So when you go to see projects like In-N-Out 2, do you buy the popcorn, drink, candy as well? Expensive, but so I do have a Regal pass for $24. $24, 24 or $23.96. Wink. Just kidding. No, it's $24. 24. Exactly what it should be. As it always should be. $24 per month. $24 per month for 24 frames per second. Anyhow, so I do have a Regal pass. So I get to watch any movie I want anytime I want. There's no restrictions on it for $24 a month. And then, depending on how I feel, I'll get the popcorn or not. It's either popcorn to drink. I never get candy. But the reason why, I didn't have popcorn yesterday because I already had dinner. And as you can tell, I obviously need to gain weight. I'm just kidding. I obviously need to lose weight. So, getting popcorn, not necessarily always a good idea. It's just carbs. I don't need more carbs. I got plenty of carbs. Oh yeah, carb time. So I don't always get candy. I never get candy. I like candy. I just don't ever get candy at the theater because it's way overpriced. But sometimes I will get like popcorn and a soda, and then the soda I usually get like a Coke Zero or something like that. So that's what I do. But yeah, I agree. Popcorn does add to the viewing experience, but yeah, I gotta watch my weight. You don't want a label attached to you by the sound of it. It does not define you. Yeah, I agree. So it doesn't define me, but I also feel like a lot of people say their ADHD is sort of, how can I say this? It's like a crutch. It's like I can't take responsibility for myself because I'm ADHD. Like that's like I may be ADHD. I probably am. I have no idea. I don't have the hubris to be able to I hate people when people self-diagnose themselves. Well, I've got a touch of Asperger's. Well, no, you think you do. Are you qualified to make that judgment? I don't feel like I'm qualified to make the judgment. But on top of that, I feel like I'm ultimately responsible for my actions. Like I was you're tired. When I was going through the breakup, I was like learning about attachment styles. And I was learning how people, like, certain attachment styles work, and it, like, fit my breakup to a T. Like, literally, like, put it over it, and I was like, exact match, right? But then I kept saying to myself, though, yes. Because also my ex was into, like, Enneagrams and stuff like that, and, like, personality tests and all that. It's like, yes, you find certain matches. Like, okay, I match, like, ADHD. But what are you going to do about it? Like, I can't control the hand that I was dealt. I control how I respond to it. And I feel like so much of what the neurodivergents do is like, well, what can I say? I'm this way. Like, no, I'm going to reframe everything. I'm going to reframe like, hey, if I want to get better, I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to go. Hell, I didn't know if I was going to go to church this morning. I was like, well, I'm up. I'm going to go. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm going to church. Said all these. How many people say that? How many Christian people say that? Fuck it, I'm going to church. No, I decided to go to church. You have to choose. You have to like act. Like it's not good enough to just label yourself something and then not do anything about it. Oh, that's how I felt about it. That's why I don't want to define me, and I also don't want to like use it as a way to adjust. I want to be able to do what my behavior or something like that. I was dating someone with ADHD and thought the same. Maybe also you're just you. You tried labeling me then. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing with the. I don't know. It's interesting because my ex was so like, I value honesty so much, and then after the break, we were like, "Bitch, you lied so much." Anyhow, like Pinocchio in front of the first act of Shrek, we go, "Let your freak flag fly." So yeah, the thing is though, like I think what causes the ick in me when it comes to some of these neurodivergent people that are introvert. So I got a theory about introversion and all that stuff too. So I've always considered myself an introvert. And you're thinking, John, how can you be an introvert? You're literally online and you do these live streams and they eventually have 1,000 people watch them and you spill your guts out. How the fuck are you an introvert? And the answer is, I'm not, I guess. Because my ex would say like, oh, no, you're not an introvert. You're an extrovert. And I'm like, well, I don't feel extrovert. But she explained it like introversion is like when you recharge by being by yourself, and extroverts are recharged by being around people. But the thing is though, after the breakup and after like talking to some other people, I feel like that's not necessarily the case. I feel like we all are very similar in our need for social. We all have different levels of need for social interaction. But I think if you have a job where you spend all day around other people, interacting with other people, then you're going to have that social interaction cup filled, like we're playing The Sims, right? You're going to have that bar fill up really fast. And you're not going to need any more. And so then you're going to need your alone time, to downtime to like process. So you think you're an introvert because you have a job which requires you to be an extrovert. I have a job where it requires me to be introverted. Like my job, and I discovered this about myself, I cannot be fully creative unless I'm by myself. Like I can't edit with another person watching over my shoulder. I can edit, but I'm like at half capacity. If I edit with another person, I have to like literally imagine they're not there and I can do my thing. If I'm drawing, if I'm doing artwork, I feel like I'm my best when I'm by myself doing the art. Okay, so my job requires me to be alone. So my social cup doesn't get filled at my work. So now I'm alone all the time. Now when I go home or when I go on the weekends, I want to go and see my friends. I want to go and hang out with people because I need to fill them up my social cup. So I feel like that understanding of between extroversion and extroversion. So when I meet people that I say that I'm extremely introverted, I'm like, I don't know. Are you? Anyhow. That was my weird tangent. My point about where I was going with that was there's an ick factor with some people that are like this neurodivergent kind of thing. I went to Disneyland by myself, and I don't, a lot of people say, "Oh, I love Disneyland by myself." Well, when you're supposed to go with your ex and you didn't go, and you have to go by yourself, it's a little different. But anyhow, I go to myself, and I saw this girl get on this Peter Pan ride, and she's a little heavier. I have nothing against heavy people, as you can see. I have nothing against heavy people, right? But she's there with her dad. And you could tell she's like a wallflower. She's like, just getting on just real quiet. Getting on Peter Pan right at 11:30 at night. And off they go. And I felt like an ick factor about that because it's like, I just felt like sad for her. I guess, I'm going to tie this to Inside Out. It's interesting that the character, that probably everyone's favorite character from Inside Out is the sadness emotion. Right? I don't know. I've heard other people say they love the sadness character, the little blue girl, and she's voiced by Phyllis from The Office. Right? I love that. I love that little factoid. Phyllis. Office. Phyllis Smith, right? She voices sadness. She kind of looks like sadness too, but I like the fact that Phyllis Smith is sort of like a very unconventional, like, television. She's 74 years old. Holy fuck. She's 74 years old? Damn, she looks great. Oh, that's amazing. She's not like a classic beauty, right? I think her background is actually in casting. Like she worked as a casting associate under Allison Jones. Here I'm reading her Wikipedia. She kind of got her big hit on The Office, obviously, and then she became the character of Sadness. But the character of Sadness is like so, like everyone just wants to give her a hug because she's just like she's like the Eeyore. She's like modern day Eeyore. Like Joy is fun. Like Joy is what you want to hang out with. Well, no, Joy is like who you want to party with, but Sadness is who you want to like actually like hug and be nice to. Yeah, where am I going with this? I don't know, but yeah, my point. I don't know where I'm going with it. I think I lost my point. I've lost the plot, John. Other way. Oh, how does other way around? Sorry, I don't know which one you're referring to. How does In-N-Out one? I'll talk. How does In-N-Out one? So okay, I never did bring this point out. In-N-Out one is better as a groundbreaking movie. In-N-Out two is great. It's fun, but it's not groundbreaking. It's fun. It's very entertaining. I would recommend watching it. Anybody that liked In-N-Out, watch it. Inside Out. Inside Out. Watch Inside Out 2. Go for it. You'll have a blast. If you haven't seen Inside Out yet, obviously go watch Inside Out, and then go watch Inside Out 2. Is it like stop your tracks, watch this movie, this is the best thing in the world? No, but it's really, really entertaining. Anyhow. Jack Ripper says, I'm currently reading Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, and the parable between big studios in the late 60s and the big studios now is pretty interesting. You know what's interesting? Because I was doing a little bit of that studios thing. We talk about how corporations now, they don't understand art. Do you guys remember Paramount? Like it would say a Gulf and Western corporation. Like in the 60s, like conglomerates were the big thing, right? Like we forget about like the 60s, Paramount was bought out by a company that also happened to own like tire manufacturing and all these different unrelated businesses. Like back in the day, like becoming a multi-corporation meant conglomerating a lot of different, not necessarily unrelated, well, mostly unrelated businesses together to create an empire that had like entertainment, like manufacturing, service industry. And I get maybe the theory at the time was like, okay, well, if your multinational conglomerate has all these different sectors in it, and then you'll be kind of recession proof because, one sector might be doing really well, one sector might be kind of failing. They can kind of like leech off each other, like even out, right? It's kind of like a mutual fund approach to a big company. Like the big company just owns it all, right? That's what conglomerates were. That's how we're the 60s, right? And that's like Gulf and Western, right? But I guess maybe back in those days too, the idea was, well, we'll conglomerate all these different companies, but we'll let Paramount do its thing. We're going to keep the Paramount people are going to be the movie people. They're going to run that business the way they run it, right? Then comes the 70s, the 80s. They realize, well, all these companies are as a conglomerate, it's losing money. But in the 80s, they realize, well, as a conglomerate, as a large conglomeration of all these brands, it sucks. But hey, that tire company is actually making money. Its fundamentals are pretty strong. So if I bought this company as a conglomerate and started selling off these pieces, I could literally make a lot of money. And that's where corporate raiders came in. So that's like Wall Street, right? Wall Street comes in and says, okay, we're going to buy us up. We're going to split them up and sell off all this stuff and make a killing selling, because as pieces, they're worth more money than they are as a conglomerate. Doesn't make sense as a conglomerate, right? And now, so that's what happened in the 80s, but now we're kind of seeing a conglomeration, but more along like similar businesses. So that's where you get like a Walt Disney Company, which owns television, movies, entertainment, theme parks, and they're all kind of together in this big giant lump. And that's where Nestle, and like Taco Bell with their Yum brands, right? So they're more large conglomerates, but they're more aligned in a certain, sector, right? But they're a large chunk of the sector. And so maybe what's happening is all these CEOs are now coming from this perspective. Well, I am, a CEO of Disney, and therefore I run theme parks and all this stuff. I probably know something about movies, right? So maybe now, instead of like instead of letting the companies run themselves, the big conglomerate is issuing orders down because the big conglomerate sees itself as the father of all these little tiny businesses. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm literally spitballing this. Probably somebody's more insightful. Maybe modern MBA might have more insight into what I'm saying there. Well, if you got the difference, if you got diagnosed by a doctor, that's different. I just hate the people that diagnose themselves. Is theory about introverts does not exist? I'm kind of leaning toward you, honestly. When I read Disney War, Disney used to be a theme park company that makes money on the side with cartoons. Well, I mean, it wasn't until 1955, right? Nowadays, it's kind of funny. Because like a friend of mine was saying, well, now Disney's hurting because people aren't going to the theme parks. It's like, have you been to Disneyland? Disneyland is chock full of people. Even at the prices they're charging, it's chock full of people. It's just so full of people. I don't know. You know, it's interesting. I wonder, because my friend like reads Daily Wire all the time. Literally, we'll watch a movie. He's going to be on his phone reading Daily Wire. He's able to like actually listen to the movie and absorb it too, which is weird. So he might be a woman. Just kidding. Sorry, Tim. But like, I wonder if you follow certain circles of the internet, Nerdrotic, Friday Night Lights, those folks, Film Threat, and Critical Drinker and all that, you might think that the Star Wars Acolyte is the worst thing ever. It's going to destroy the Disney empire, right? And I'm like, maybe, but I feel like there is this whole other realm of like casual Disney Star Wars fans that don't pay attention to any of that maybe not even watch Acolyte, that will continue buying their lightsabers. When I was at Disneyland, I took the ride, the Rise of the Resistance ride is really truly remarkably well done. It really is a beauty. It's a very well done attraction. But I remember riding the third time I rode it. It was a guy that came dressed as a Sith. He had the black hoodie on. He was walking around and he was like LARPing as a Sith. Like dude literally comes to Disneyland. Pays whatever. Maybe he has an annual pass or whatever. If you have an annual pass, like $120 a month for it, and he literally is just like LARPing as Sith in Disneyland. It's like, why? Well, anyhow. What am I getting the point at? Other than the fact that, there's this world of people that go to Disneyland and they've spent $150 on their custom lightsabers. And then because you spent $150 at buying your lightsaber, Disney's not going to hold them for you. You think, you spent $150. Well, why don't we hold these for you and you can come back and get them, or we'll ship them to you. That way you're not carrying around. No, you're not allowed to do that. So they have to carry around their lightsaber around the park. It's rough. Yep, Charles Bluedorn. I love that. That guy was so interesting in my Paramount video. You've probably seen that one, right? But he was like a German guy, and he was like apparently a very big character. He's like, and he died of a heart attack on a plane. Now, it might have been cocaine. Who knows? But, yeah, Bluedorn saw Godfather, Chinatown, Bob Evans. So, I think Bluedorn's like, he's like, I like to make movies. And he just wanted to like make, I think he's like the CEO that just wanted to make movies. He wanted to be in the movie business because it was a way for him to be in the social circles. It was a way for his wife to get invited to all the, parties and all that stuff. It was a way for him to be social and to have like a high status social thing. So I think he owned the studio as a show off his wealth. Not necessarily he wanted to run things. He wanted that's why he put Bob Evans in charge of running the things. So that way, they'd create prestige for him. So he get invited to the Oscar parties and all that stuff. Austrian. Thank you. Yeah. So I think, that's the, in that way he was like hands off the business. Disney will never run out of money if Elgar is fighting the purse strings. You mean not Elgar? What's his name? Iger. All right, I've been on for about an hour and 49 minutes. Let's make it 2, and we'll call it a day for today. So yeah, anyhow, on this Father's Day, miss you, Dad. Been missing you for a long time. So I wanted to be a dad. In my former relationship, I thought I was going to be a dad, but I'm not. So now I just need to focus on making myself the best me there is possible. I got to focus on trying to move everything out of my office here. I decided to go ahead and just rent it out for one single more month. So I'm going to be exiting in July. So that gives me at least another 6 weeks to actually start moving. I mean, I started moving already. I moved about 20% of my gear out of here, which is scary because, well, looking at it, more like 10% of my gear is out of here. Oh, a lot of stuff right now is just garbage. It's just like little tiny things. But I got 6 more weeks to move into my house. I'm going to have to turning my mom's bedroom into my office for the time being. Although I have an office right now in my house, I want to have like my space for my big editing computer. And eventually I will be building a unit in my backyard. It'll be like my shed. Turn my backyard into an oasis. That's going to be amazing and wonderful. And I'm finally going to have a backyard that I can be super, super proud of. I've never had that in my life. I've always lived in kind of like a dumpy house and dumpy life. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to have the best. I'm going to have the best. Everything's going to be awesome. That's what they say. I'm going to have the best backyard and studio for myself. I'll take this setup. I'm not going to do this exact setup, but I'm going to do a little something that I can do Filmmaker IQ videos out of my backyard. I have a lovely area for all the beautiful chicks to come hang out with me. And I'll probably put a spa in there eventually so they, it'll be like private. So, if they want to hop in without their bikini on, that's fine too. It's just going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to work on just, I'm going to keep drawing my comic book, finish that thing up in a couple months. It's going to be amazing. I finally focus back on becoming the best me I can be. And then maybe someday I'll be blessed with a family and all that. So my dad had 4 other children besides me, but they're a lot older than me. And not that long ago, I found my oldest brother died when I was in high school. Actually, when I was 15 and a half years old, I had my driver's permit. So I was able to drive up and get his stuff in San Francisco. He was the closest one to me, but he was like 30 years older than me. He died. Then another sister died, half sister died. And then like last year, I realized another half sister died. So now it's just me and the youngest of my half brothers is still alive. And I don't have a family. So I was hoping that last relationship started a family, but it didn't, because that girl could not think forward. It's constantly looking backward. But I think I've got to work on myself, keep being the best me I can be, and I think eventually I'll be blessed in that way. That's how I feel. I'm looking forward, never looking back. Always moving forward, twirling toward the future. So that's where I'm at. What do you think? A few more comments. What do you think of the golden age of hip-hop having to be brought to an end in the mid-'90s due to the lawsuit that made it necessary for you to ask permission for any song you sample? I don't have a lot of thoughts on that, honestly. I am of the opinion that I believe that copyright should be very strictly enforced, but I also believe that fair use should be also very, very strong. So I hate that. I every time somebody complains about, oh, they stole my idea, I almost always automatically take the did they really steal your idea side, because I saw somebody post something about like, oh, they stole this idea, and it's literally just a woman's face with 2 different types of red lighting. So I'm of that mind. Sampling, I can kind of see where the sampling thing becomes an issue. So I don't know. I'm not a big hip hop fan, so to me, the golden age of hip hop or the modern age of hip hop has no meaning to me. So I have no real big thoughts on it. Yeah, Sony recently bought some theaters. They can do it because the 1948 decree was revoked. Yep. Yeah, that's right. And now that makes sense, because I remember seeing Sony bought theaters and somebody else bought theaters. Maybe it was Sony that I was thinking of. Inside Out 3, when Riley graduates high school and has to pick a college, has to choose between a college or a boyfriend. How about that? Ooh. It becomes Inside Out, the R-rated. Like, it slowly gets like G-rated, and then it's PG-13, and it's R-rated. And like, oh my goodness. Like Inside Out 4, Riley And it's Riley's wedding night. And then Inside Out 17, Riley hits menopause. Oh my gosh. Don't start. Man, my friend was like saying, I heard some controversy about that Inside Out 2 movie. I'm like, really? Is it a controversy? What's the controversy? Oh, it's gay. I'm like, okay. As I saw the movie and I didn't think anything of it other than, okay, well, she like has a girl crush on this girl that's like the best hockey player, and she's like really into it, and she's kind of got, there's a little bit of a lesbian, barely registered. It's so like I need to write something for a headline and just make it something another. Big love from Dublin. Your dad would be proud of you. Oh yeah, my dad's been with me for all this time. He hasn't left. He's always been here. I'll light a candle for you and your dad. I will light a candle for you and your dad simply. Please do. I would appreciate that. My dad's always been with me. Before I met my ex, I described myself as like Christian adjacent. I didn't believe, I wasn't fully Christian. And then I met my ex and she kind of like tipped me over. And the thing is though, the conversion was pretty easy because I've always had that spiritual connection. And I always felt like my dad and God and whatever voice was always tapping my head and talking to me. So, yeah. I will spoil this for you, Canster. Bing Bong as long as Bing Bong makes a cameo in 2, I guess the movie can make it in theaters. Bing Bong is dead. I'm sorry that's a spoiler, but Bing Bong died in the first movie. Bing Bong is dead. Bing Bong is dead. Long live Bing Bong. But is Richard Kind still alive? Yeah, I guess Richard Kind is still alive. I thought he died. No, he's still alive. I like Richard Kind. I like his smile. Richard Kind has the greatest smile in the world. But yeah, no, Bing Bong is dead. And therefore, Bing Bong does not make a cameo. Why? Because Bing Bong is dead. He died in the first movie. Sorry to leave on a very sad note there. How old was my dad when he had me? Let's do the math. He was 77 when he died, and I was 19 years old. So he was like 56. I was 18 years old. Was I 18 or 19? No, I was 19. Yeah, I was 19 years old. I had not turned 20 yet. But he was, so 20 would be 60, 57, so 58, I guess. He's 58 when he had me. Pour one out for Bing Bong. Bing Bong is dead. Bing Bong is no more. Am I going to post videos of my backyard transformation? I will, but the backyard transformation is going to literally take a year. It is not happening. Right now, my goal is to move everything out of my office. I got 6 weeks to do it. I can probably do it in 6 weeks. I won't have a whole lot of help, but I can do it. I can do it in 6 weeks. But that's my primary goal. If you follow me on Facebook, you can see some of my progress so far. But yeah, that's my goal, is to do everything into the storage first, into the office. I have to do the reflooring. Turn my mom's bedroom. I need to refloor that thing because it's nasty. I mean, because it's like people treading in and out. It's just nasty. So I got to refloor it. I'm having Frontier Internet come and put fiber into my house, which now I can get like 2 gigabits up and down, which is faster than I have in the office even. So that's my first goal. So, all right, folks. With that, it is noon. I should probably go get something to eat, or I don't know. I'll probably hang out for a little bit here, and then I'll probably start packing and doing stuff and starting to wrap the rest of my Sunday. pour one out for Bing Bong. Bing Bong, long live Bing Bong, but he is dead. So, all right, guys, I will end the stream now, and we will check in next week. Hey, we'll come back next week. We'll do some more streaming. Next week it is. I probably won't be tearing this down for another couple weeks, so we'll probably be here. All right, guys, we shall see you. Take care. Bye-bye now. Fade out.